Welcome back to another episode of Rock Boys Football. It does not take Coach Prime in this Colorado Buffaloes program very long to really start making some moves in the transfer portal, set to host a ton of really intriguing prospects on campus this weekend for this Colorado program. Want to go over some of the names that I'm most intrigued by for Coach Prime, this Colorado program. Excited to get into it. Before we do, and as always, just want to say, thank you to you guys. Y'all know I have a blast talking the transfer portal, evaluating all of these targets on the move. Cannot thank you guys enough for rocking with the fellas. If y'all do enjoy the content, consider subscribing to the channel. Promise you guys I'll keep you as updated as possible with what Colorado is doing in the transfer portal. We all know that it's going to be a busy next couple of weeks. And without further ado, let's get into this one. And I want to start off with Ohio State running back Dion Hayden, who intrigues me the most because I think he brings another flavor to this Colorado running back room where you have a guy like Dylan Edwards who is really going to get incorporated in this offense in a lot of different ways. One of the fastest players in all of college football. Dion Hayden is one of those more all-purpose backs, 5'10", 205, and going back to 2022 as a true freshman for Ohio State, ran for over 500 yards, an Ohio State running back that a lot of fans were really excited about going into 2023, didn't get as much workload and opportunity in 2023. And I think the question for Colorado and Coach Prime is, can we get Dion Hayden back to that form that we saw as a true freshman in 2022? I think Dion Hayden probably comes in and plays the role that I think Colorado expected Alton McCaskill to play. And you take a look at what they have in this running back room. Dylan Edwards, your guy that is just extremely dynamic anytime he has the football in his hands. And then you have a guy like Dion Hayden who then can be more of that all-purpose running back between the tackles. You sprinkle in a true freshman and Micah Welch, who apparently making some real noise in Colorado spring practice. You add Dion Hayden into that running back room, and you start to feel good about the depth and talent pool in that Colorado running back room. I think Dion Hayden certainly on commit watch during this weekend at Colorado. We'll break it down a little deeper if he does, in fact, commit to Colorado. Next player I want to talk about is one of the more hot commodities, I believe, in the transfer portal. That's linebacker Elijah Herring coming from Tennessee. Very rarely do you see a linebacker that led his team in tackles in the SEC enter the transfer portal. That's exactly what you have in Elijah Herring, a guy that 77 tackles for Tennessee in the SEC. We talk about Colorado going and getting guys that are starting caliber players. Elijah Herring certainly in that list. And a guy in Elijah Herring, kind of like Dion Hayden, only going into year 3 of his college football career. That's an emphasis on Coach Prime in terms of getting guys that not only are going to give you 1 year and go to the NFL, but get some bodies in there that, yeah, they're going to provide value in 2024. But I think more importantly, are guys that you can start building around for the next couple of years. Elijah Herring, I think that kind of guy, and a guy that from a physical trait standpoint really does check all the boxes, right? 6'3", 230. He has that range, the ability to go sideline to sideline. And you kind of made a mistake about it. Levante Bentley, Trevor Woods. Elijah Herring comes in and I think immediately takes Trevor Woods spots, but I think adds a little bit more talent to that linebacker room heading into 2024. And another linebacker that I think I'm kind of intrigued by, and I know very well as a Michigan fan, Nikai Hill-Green, who started his career at Michigan, actually played some really good football during his time at Michigan, got phased out in 2022, ends up transferring to Charlotte in 2023, and a guy that was second in the team in tackles, 9 tackles for a loss, only a 12% missed tackle rate. Similar to Elijah Herring, I think he brings not only a lot of starting experience at the Power 5 level going back to his time at Michigan, but also a guy that from a physical trait standpoint really checks those boxes. There was a lot of buzz around Nikai Hill-Green when he was at Michigan, a guy that us Michigan fans were very excited about. When he goes to Charlotte, he gets more of an opportunity to really show what he's about and kind of took advantage of it, and now is kind of one of the more hot commodities at that linebacker spot. If I'm Colorado, I'm making a push for either Elijah Herring or Nikai Hill-Green, but I think both of these guys offer really good starting quality linebackers for this Colorado program heading into the 2024 season. You take a look at Nikai Green's numbers. I mean, 29 run stops with an average depth of tackle of only 2.9 yards down the field. What does that tell you about Nikai Green? He's playing downhill. He's making a lot of his plays at or around the line of scrimmage. You go back to Colorado, their linebacker play in 2023, the linebackers weren't really making their plays and working downhill. And I think, yes, partially on the defensive line, which is going to be much better. That was a story. But I don't think you had great linebacker play in 2023. I think Levante Bentley played very solid. Outside of that, not so much. If you add a guy like Elijah Herring, like Nikai Green, you're Colorado looking at that linebacker room and say, yeah, we got better heading into 2024 at that linebacker spot. And then you make no mistake about it, Colorado is going to continue to work the line of scrimmage. Coach Prime was very vocal, and this is something we've talked about throughout the offseason for Colorado is, hey, we got the skill talent to win at a very high level in 2024. We got to make sure the line of scrimmage is not only you got some talent there, but you got to get some depth there as well. When you have the goals of Colorado, you got to be deep along the line of scrimmage. Dion Hayes coming over from Pitt, potentially joining his teammate Samuel Okunlola. This is a very intriguing prospect who's going to take a visit to USC as well. You take a look at Dion Hayes' numbers, only 4 sacks in 2023. That doesn't begin to tell the story of what Dion Hayes brought to that Pitt defense. You take a look at the pass rush numbers, 29 quarterback hurries, 13% pass rush win rate. This is a heavy-handed edge rusher that likes to win right through tackles, going speed to power, and a guy that's a hammer against the run as well. 19 run stops, an average depth of tackle of 1.6 yards down the field. He wins at the line of scrimmage. He gets off his blocks, and that's something really important that I feel like gets lost in the conversation at that edge rusher position is, all right, we want you to be able to get off after the quarterback. That is obviously priority number one, but you also have to be a guy that can play on first and second down. You are not no good to us, but limited use to us if you're only a pass rusher. If you can only get after the quarterback, can you win on first and second down, force teams into those third and long situations, and then pin your ears back, get after the quarterback? Dion Hayes, a guy that can play all 3 downs, be a factor in the run game, and then those third and long situations, pin his ears back and go get after the quarterback. We've said this. Dion Hayes, starting caliber guy. Samuel Okunlola, starting caliber guy. Colorado is targeting guys who are going to come in and start. Coach Prime said it in the press conference the other day. We're not trying to get backups to come to Colorado. We want guys who are starting caliber dudes coming into the transfer portal. A lot of these guys we talked about, Elijah Herring, Nikai Green, Dion Hayes, starting caliber guys on their Power 5 programs previously. The last one I want to talk about, and one of the more sought after defensive linemen in the transfer portal, going to the MAC conference at Ohio, Ryan Bule, who actually played his high school football right down the road from me in Rochester, New York. This is a kid that he is a versatile defensive lineman that gives you some pass rush juice, had 6 sacks during his season at Ohio, can play 3 tech, can really hold up at the nose as well. Played some really good football against Iowa State. When I'm evaluating these group of 5 transfers, I always try to get some film in on when they play Power 5 level competition, because I think the big question is, all right, you produce at the MAC. Can you go produce at the Power 5 level? Ryan Bule, I thought, played some quality football against Iowa State. Here's the number. We talk about average depth of tackle a lot because we want to make sure when we're bringing guys in, okay, it's one thing to have 50-plus tackles. Are you making your tackles at or behind the line of scrimmage? Ryan Bule, average depth of tackle in the run game, negative 0.1 yards down the field. That tells you really all you need to know in terms of how he plays the run. He's a penetrator. He knows how to use his hands. He gets off the line of scrimmage in a very quick manner. Guy that brings versatility, brings run stopping and pass rush ability to that inside of that defensive line. I don't know if he's a surefire starter for Colorado on the inside of that defensive line, but we talk about this a lot. Can you manufacture really good depth along the line of scrimmage? That's how you win at the highest level, at the Power 5 level. Ryan Bule certainly going to be a guy that gives you that kind of depth. Those are my favorite prospects that'll be on campus for Colorado. Make no mistake about it. Colorado is going to do a lot of work in the transfer portal. We'll continue to break it down. Appreciate you guys rocking with the fellas. Again, if y'all do enjoy the content, consider subscribing to the channel. Appreciate you guys. And we'll talk to y'all later.